is the founder of Andmine, and they have obviously quite a broad reach across Australia and Asia. They have offices in Sydney, Melbourne, and through Asia. So if you happen to be in those cities and want to pop in and talk to them, I'm sure they'll welcome you. Now, we haven't just picked anybody out of the blue to do this. Michael is quite an expert on social media and all things to do with digital online marketing. So you can ask him some questions at the end. I'm sure he'll stick around to handle some of your questions. And if you are more serious and want to spend some time with him, we've also asked him if he'll allow you guys to have a quick consult with him if you're up for it. So, but it is limited, and it's he hasn't got hundreds of hours to spend with everybody. So I believe that Michael will make himself available to a few select people if you do want to speak with him afterwards one-on-one. So thank you for Michael that. Appears regularly in the media. If you watched anything or you've read the Sydney Morning Herald or had a look at any of the online digital magazines, you'll see Michael appearing there. And he also writes for columns such as Think and Grow Rich, The Wealth Creator, and Grow Your Business magazine. He's written a book on how to start a business, and is quite well educated and quite distinguished. He's a lecturer on digital communications at RMIT, which is a very prestigious institution. Of course, some of his clients that he deals with, or Andmine, I should say, deals with, are companies such as iPrimus, Matchbox, Regis Hotels, Tony and Guy, just to name a few. So you're in really, really good hands, and I'm sure the next 45 minutes is going to be fascinating. And I hope you've got your mobile phones off and your pen and paper ready to take some notes. And with that, I'd like to ask Michael to turn off his mute button if it's not off, and say hello to everybody. Are you there, Michael?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Welcome, and thanks for joining us. And I know that you're ready to go with a whole lot of information, slides that you prepared. I know you don't do webinars very often. You tend to do more face-to-face stuff. So I'm sure you're going to have a great time with the people who are here today. We have a great lineup of our clients that come along to these things, and they're very willing and eager to learn. So I'm going to hand it over to you, and hopefully you can have a bit of fun today.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be a part of the process, and hopefully we're going to give you some really good, strong things. They're used to using social media, and it's not really a distraction for them. And some of you guys will be in that group, but some of you guys will be in this other group where you've had a traditional business, and you've been around for a while, and you're very good at what you do. And we look at you and say, okay, well, these guys are the digital immigrants. They're on the start of a journey, or they're part of their way down of learning about digital success and how to do it. The pros that the young guys have and the startups have, and new businesses in all forms. They're agile. They're lean. They look at things in a very destructive way. How can I do it better? How can I do it different? This is the first way that they go into business, thinking I'm going to change the world. And as a young guy myself, when I first started business, that's exactly how I thought. And then the pros, the people that have been around for a while, the traditional businesses, you guys have got experience, you've got stability, you know what success is, you know when to do the right thing, you know all the important things about business and cash flow and what makes a business tick. The thing is that the new guys, because they've got such a stranglehold over the new technology, they're slowly chipping away at the successful, stable businesses that have been around forever. And so those guys are losing relevancy. And I've put some examples there, and I'll bring some examples up during the process of how this is happening. And there's wholesale changes, things like the music industry, and the recent changes that things have gone to streaming, like Spotify, versus buying CDs and records traditionally. Like, those are big examples, but it's also happening on a smaller level as well. Businesses, small businesses that are accounting firms and legal firms or restaurants, they're all facing hair salons, all facing the same sort of challenges where they've had a traditionally strong business and all of a sudden they're losing traction and they're losing customers and clients to upcoming businesses that don't have their experience, don't have their expertise, don't even have their skills or talent, but they are very, very good at communicating how great they are or how great they're going to be. So I just want you to think about that as we go through the slides, because it sort of frames the competitive nature of what's happening in social media. So this year, social media is a lot less complicated than most people think. When we're first approached about social media, everyone seems to be putting it in the bucket. If they're not already digital natives and well into it, they're already putting it into the bucket of, this is complicated. How am I going to do this? How am I going to get involved? I want to give you 2 quick examples that talk to this. I was at the pool a couple of weekends ago. Being down in Melbourne, it's not sunny that often, so when it is sunny, I like to try and soak up a little bit of sun. And I'm out at the pool, and I'm not that great a swimmer, but I noticed this guy in the lane next to me, and he's not swimming up and down. He's just staying at one end, doing turns. Like, I don't know if he knows what he's doing or not, but it looked interesting to me. And I said, he popped his head up, and I was at the end at the same time, and I said, "Oh, what are you up to?" Anyway, I find out this guy is a plumber. He's 55 years old. What he's doing is he's learning to do flip turns, like the professional swimmers. And I said, "Oh, why are you learning that?" And he basically said, "Oh, I want to do something new," and I thought it was a good challenge. And I said, "Did somebody teach you, or you got a trainer, or are you just doing it? I mean, how good are you at it?" And he just said to me, "Look, I just looked on YouTube about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and I started researching on YouTube how to do them, like following instructions on YouTube." And I thought, that's amazing. Like, here's a 55-year-old plumber that isn't very technology savvy, because we spoke about that, but he's comfortable getting on his iPad at night and looking up something on YouTube. Now, he doesn't know it, and he probably doesn't care too much, but he's actually using social media to learn how to swim better and how to do flip turns. And I thought about that for a minute, and I thought, wow, it is that simple. You just need this simple little hook, and all of a sudden you're involved. And I think that is the speed, or that is the reason that social media is growing so fast. He said to me this statement down below: everything can be broken down into simple steps. And I thought, that's an amazing insight from somebody that isn't very technology savvy, but that's exactly how social media works. I had the same thing. A few years ago, I bought my first, larger house, and it needed a lot of work. Now, until that point, I'd never picked up a paintbrush. I'd never picked up a drill, or a hammer, or a rake, or a lawnmower. Any of those things I hadn't touched, because, being digitally orientated a lot of my life, I always felt my place was in front of a keyboard more than doing those type of jobs around the house. But as soon as I got my own house, you want to get into that sort of stuff, or I did. And, very quickly I had, from no drills, I had 3 drills. I had a lawnmower, I had a hammer, I've got a full tool shed now full of stuff. And I've gone to Masters so much that they've given me a trade member card because they see my face so much. And I thought that was the other side of how things change so quickly. And once again, this is the challenge that everybody has to get into social media. You just need that hook, and the right hooks, to be able to connect you in the right way, and all of a sudden you're on the way to being an expert. Now, I'm no expert at fixing my house yet. There's a few and talk about, maybe when a lot of you started businesses, or when you were around in business. Now, in the early 80s, marketing and advertising was becoming quite mainstream, and the rules and the applications around it were also being positively influenced in business. Now, back then, you can look up research papers, and I certainly did as I progressed my business and learned more about marketing and strategy. The 3 client considerations back then hold very, very true today, and especially in social media. I want to quickly take you through these. First of all, your brand, your company, your products, your services, they cannot be considered They cannot be chosen if they're not considered. Now think about that in terms of social media. If social media is going to be a huge play in a channel or a part of marketing of your business in the future, or any business, and I believe strongly that it is, then if you're not there, you won't be considered. I'm going to give you some insights today about why that's important. How much time has a customer spent considering your brand? This is frequency. And this is similar to what posting is on social media. Like, unless you're there frequently or frequently enough, then once again, your brand won't be considered as well as often as others. And finally, if you are considered, why would you be preferred? You know, what is the reason? What is the USP? What is the uniqueness, or why is your service or product better than anybody else's? And I think these three things that were built around marketing, built around advertising for decades, now hold so true in social media. And we talk about these things with our clients all the time. We try and ensure that they're ready to answer them, or answer them with us. So back from the 1970s, when those type of consumer research papers first came out and they were being adopted in marketing and strategy, this is exactly where social word of mouth is, and exactly the processes that we'll be talking about today. So this year and next year, most businesses will evolve a social media channel. If not, my call isn't, you know, you can say this is marketing or strategy or whatever, but the speed at which it's growing and how it's being adopted and the changes in the technology, if you're not involved in this in a big way as a marketing channel, your business will struggle to survive the decade. Now, that's not everybody. There's always exceptions to every rule. However, most businesses I see gaining significant growth, have a channel, have a stake in social media, and a reasonable stake. Okay, so this is a question I get asked a lot. How do I actually benefit from social media? Who there? I just want to quickly do a quick survey, quick poll. I'd like you to type yes or hit the Y button. Just punch it straight into the box there. Who's asked this question? How do I benefit from social media? Like, who's thinking about their business and has got this question lingering in the back of their head? Okay, I see a lot of yeses. Joe, Elizabeth, Tim, Mark, Tracy. Wow, Gary, David. Yeah, we've got like nearly 30% of people saying yes straight away. Okay, so I'm feeling that you guys definitely there's a huge chunk of you that want to know the answer to this question, and I'm sure everybody else there is going about this. Yeah, very, very quickly, look back in time again, a couple of decades ago. This is the only way marketing and communications was done. All right, you've got snail mail, you've got the phone, you can pick up the phone, you can call people, and you can elicit a response from broadcast media like television, radio, and newspapers. Today, the opportunities have completely changed. So we've gone from this very, very simple system of being able to get your message and your brand out there to an incredibly complicated mix of opportunities, platforms, devices, while still having some of those traditional things around. Here's a really interesting thing that people, not a lot of people know about, but YouTube as a channel is so big that the lead channel on YouTube at the moment is this guy called PewDiePie. Now, you can look him up later, but basically he gets 260 million views a month. Now CNN News gets 60 million views a month. 9 News here in Australia, 30 million views. So those two channels combined, he's doing 3 times as much views as those channels. Now that's incredible to me. Like that every time I see that and every time I talk about it, it still shocks me. Now this guy is just, he actually looks a little bit like this guy on the left actually, but he started when he was 22 and a few years later he had that level of viewership. Now he's making millions of dollars a month just on YouTube, just via YouTube advertising. And I'm not saying that he could have another platform and he's probably trying to develop what he can do next, but it shows the power of what social media can do and how well you can connect the undercurrent of people that are already swarming to these platforms.